Hello, family, and welcome. So, today my podcast title is Leading from a Healed Purpose: The Power of Trauma Informed Leadership. It is an economy called Transformation, a growth mindset podcast by me, Zealist. Um, Welcome to the podcast, and I am here to inform others about a transformation from triumph to trauma. And it is, again, it's powered by me, where healing becomes the new wealth and transformation is the true economy. I'm your host, Velma Becks. I am the founder of Zealists. I am also a coach, and I am an advocate for women, for youth, for widows, and for the most vulnerable in our society, in our population, who are ready to rise beyond their pain and lead with purpose. So, let's get started. So, today we're talking about a leadership model that's changing lives, and it's redefining success for women, for youth, for the Gen Z, for the millennials, for the baby boomers. And it goes across industries. So, um, your key to transformation is growth. And so, growth, let's talk about growth. Growth actually, it starts from within. And I want to say that in today's, business landscape, growth is no longer just about profit margins or market share. And when I'm talking about zealous, I'm talking about from a woman's perspective. And you can take this information and use it from your perspective as well. But for women entrepreneurs, especially those navigating adversity, discrimination, or burnout, growth actually starts from within, and I've learned that the hard way. So at Zealist, we call this trauma-informed leadership, and it's the heartbeat of everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything that we do. Um, like many founders, I built my company from an actual lived experience. And when I say a lived experience, I believe that trauma is something that everybody in this world will experience at some point in their lives. However, for me, I turned grief, trauma, and economic uncertainty into a framework that now helps other women, the Gen Z population, the millennials, baby boomers, those that are getting restarted again, to lead with boldness, with clarity and compassion. So what I discovered is this, right? So when you lead from a healed purpose, because when you go through trauma, you're very emotional, disappointments and things of that sort. So you have to build from an unshakable power. And so we have to understand that once we are traumatized, there is a phase that we have to go back and just sit down and reflect upon. So, what is trauma informed leadership? Trauma informed leadership acknowledges that many of us are running businesses while carrying the invisible weight of past experiences, loss, abandonment, generational barriers, or systemic injustice. And these experiences don't disqualify us, they actually shape us. I actually know that my trauma shaped me, and that is why I'm sitting here before you today. And when that trauma shapes you, it's harnessed with intention. You become the source of, or our trauma, it becomes the source of our deepest insight and innovation. And so this leadership style actually prioritizes emotional intelligence and self-awareness. So centers, it also too, it centers equity and psychological safety in team culture. It connects brand purpose to personal mission. It also too it uses resilience as a competitive advantage. So when we lead from a place of wholeness, we stop performing for validation, and that was one of my biggest issues. I was doing things to please other people, and when you're doing things to please other people, or when you're performing for validation, then you're not your true or you're the best version of yourself. And so I learned to start building from vision. So why does it matter? Because it truly does matter. And again, I've learned from experience that um, we have to learn how to, or at Zealists and upon building this business, I've come to the realization that we have to learn to celebrate the power of women, men, our upcoming generation, to lead industries, to transform communities, and to create generational impact, because that's what it's about. It's not about impression, it is more about impacting others. But let's be honest, many of us are navigating burnout, imposter syndrome, leadership fatigue, the pressure to accelerate, too often can feel impossible when you haven't, yet had the space to heal. And that was one of my biggest issues as well. I wasn't giving myself the space to heal. And so that's why this conversation is urgent. As we pursue growth, we must also prioritize well-being, alignment, and authenticity. So real success is not how fast you grow, but how deeply you're grounded while doing it, if that makes any kind of sense. And so your roots have to go down deep. And when I say go down deep, it's like a seed that you plant and it comes out and it harvests at its perfect time. So let's talk about philosophy. So the philosophy of Fearless, or the framework for empowerment and growth. So I had a session with Women of Power United that is run by a woman by the name of Ebony Curtin. And I've shared with her that our philosophy method, it is a trauma-informed approach to scaling a mission-driven business. And that's what I'm about. I'm about mission-driven things. I'm about servicing the community, and it's built around 3 pillars. So the first pillar is self-awareness, knowing your story and how it shows up in your leadership, not just in your leadership, in your community, in your family, in your home, or just in your daily activities. Number 2, service, aligning your business model with purpose and impact. 3, strategic action, using your experience to make powerful, sustainable decisions. We'll also explore tools like the Purpose Pyramid and Triumph Statement Builder to help participants identify their why. You always have to have a why, and I'm going to say this because Simon Sinek says, or he asks the question, what is your why? Your why is the thing that helps you to build that foundation. It helps you to claim your voice, activate resilience as a growth strategy. Because transformation, honestly, it isn't just about perfection, it's about alignment. And when you align with your purpose, your leadership becomes unstoppable. You can actually, when you begin to understand who you are, it's like Nike says, just do it. And when you begin to just do it, it becomes surmountable and it rings throughout the world. So the invitation, let's talk about the invitation. So if you're a woman entrepreneur, and I'm specifically speaking to women because I myself am a woman, but this goes to the audience in general with a story. You belong in this room. Whether you face loss, rejection, or simply the pressure to prove yourself every day. And a lot of us are going through that. You're not alone and you're not broken. I want you to understand that. Your story is not baggage, it's your blueprint. So I want you to come and discover how your pain can birth purpose. And let's accelerate together with healing, with hope, and with heart. So I just, wanted to take this time and to create this space where people can feel like this is a real safe haven. Like this is a place where I can learn, I can grow, I can thrive, I can breathe again, I can trust again. And so I want to say thank you so much for tuning in to an economy called Transformation, a podcast powered by me, your girl Zealist, and you are a part of our family, where we turn trauma into triumph and purpose into power. To learn more about Philosophy, our method, in our trauma informed leadership programs, visit zealous-llc.net. You can also visit my Ko-fi page. It goes into greater depth about who I am. You can also reach me on LinkedIn, Velma P. Becks, or you can search for me on Instagram, VBecks41. Until next time, I love you all. Have an awesome day.